Hi, this is Trevor, and welcome back once again to our weekly tarot card challenge. Today is Saturday, September. Where's the time gone? Today is Saturday, September the 6th. It just seems like summer's flown by. And here we are settling into a new season. And here in Winnipeg, our part of the world in Canada, we see such distinct seasons, and sometimes they're very definite. We get a definite summer, we get a definite autumn, we get a definite winter, and a definite spring. So it has been a change. You can feel the change in the weather, and in so much in terms of consciousness, the whole back to school season, the period where, we're thinking about the winter that lies ahead, and boy, do we ever get a winter here. You can feel that change with people. In the area where I work and live, actually, in the West End here of Winnipeg, we have a huge burst in our population as so many university students from all over the world come back to the University of Winnipeg and some of the other educational resources nearby. My primary location that I read through, Elemental Book and Curiosity Shop, is right across the street from McFeeters Hall, the student residence, and also the Richardson Environmental Sciences building. So it's so wonderful to just see this tremendous diversity and all of this learning energy that just seems to be waking up. Anyway, enough about that. We're going to get into the cards right away. One other thing I want to mention, just in terms of some news, I was asked earlier this year to participate in a TV series, and the show is actually called Faith in Culture, and it's on two networks here in Canada. One is Hope TV Canada, and also Joy TV. And the series itself is talking to a wide number of people, very diverse backgrounds, really about how we put faith, not necessarily from a religious standpoint, but our sense of faith at work in our lives. So I was fascinated to be a small part of that. I think I'm just in some tiny segments. And that airs this evening, Saturday, September 6th at 9 p.m. on Hope TV, and tomorrow on Joy TV, if you get that station, I believe at 8 p.m. You can check your local listings. And I think it's going to be running until February, so I'm really interested to see what a lot of the other comments are and how it goes. Keep your fingers crossed for me. Anyway, let's get on to our card of the week. And I've been shuffling the cards. I've set aside the cards that we've covered already, and those are, of course, here on this YouTube channel. They're also on Trevor Psychic Intuitive has its own YouTube channel, and I just repost them to there, as well as information about my work and about me on my website at trevorsense.com. It's Saturday morning. I'm still probably waking up a little bit. Anyway, let's get into the card of the week. Justice, one of the major arcana cards. Right. Now, it sometimes is very tempting to want to look at the major arcana and take them literally, and we find out pretty quickly that things like the death card do not mean physical death. It can come up, I guess, in connection with discussion around that. The Empress doesn't mean that you're going to go to London and meet the Queen. And justice is not necessarily about legal situations. And again, I've mentioned before that the major arcana are part of the deck, and they have more to do with the lessons, the experiences, and what they're teaching us that are going on. They're not so much circumstantial themselves. So they can kind of describe an atmosphere, and in a way they are kind of like the Dharma or the guidance that can help us in terms of recognizing what's playing out in terms of those scripts or those circumstantial life situations. So justice comes up within that sequence of the major arcana, and there is a reason why the cards are in the order that they're in. And in some traditions, in some initiatory traditions, in some of the systems where the cards are kind of tied into conscious self-change, again, there's a reason for that order. There's an earlier part of the major arcana that seems to almost have to do with a childlike phase in our life. like a little kid growing up with their awareness of parents, of male and female energy, and beginning to learn about relationships. And there's guidance that comes through on that level. And then suddenly we're kind of thrust more out into the world. We start having more of these external experiences, these experiences that sometimes have to do with very challenging stuff. That comes up right after the Wheel of Fortune, right after we get kind of thrust outward. So justice is one of the first things that we encounter. Now, an interesting thing too about that is that in the evolution of tarot, because it is like a language and languages go through changes, something very revolutionary happened when this particular deck was created. Arthur Edward Waite chose to change the order of how some cards were sequenced. Right? Initially, this was in the place where the Strength card is, and it got turned around. And Strength came up after Wheel of Fortune, and they switched it. So one would wonder why, and I'm sure that there's some very deep and scholarly explanations in terms of that. But I like to think that we can be taught about justice, but until we really have to experience it, until we are kind of thrust outward into the world, it's not going to be as strong a concept. We can try to teach people right from wrong, but we have to move through experiences in order to really kind of register that. And justice is not always about things being fair, nor is it about karmic retribution, I find. Karma is a word that gets talked about a great deal in our culture, as East has met West. But karma is not the same as Santa Claus. Karma is not, I've had a bad time, so now I'm going to have a good time. Or that guy was mean to me, so he's going to get his karma. Have you ever considered that maybe it was your karma that brought that situation to you in the first place? What did you need to learn? What did you need to see? So justice is not always about things being in perfect balance. I see it more that you have the ability to be flexible. You have, I look like a hula dancer. You have the ability to be, fluid with what's going on. When something happens, do you react rigidly, or are you able to kind of let it go? We have to look with compassion, not just at what is right, but in a way, what gets left. What is the ongoing experience? So justice is not sometimes an eye for an eye. Sometimes justice is saying this pattern ends here. It's one of those cards that, again, has to do with lessons. So it's not the circumstances themselves. There's other cards in the deck that would maybe talk about seeking out arbitration, and you would be looking at where other cards would indicate how this is coming up. Again, it's open to interpretation, and I'm just giving you some food for thought around that today. I look forward to sharing with you further, and whether that's through this means, or through there's a Facebook page, or whether that's an in-person appointment or online over Skype. Hope everyone's having a great week. Take care, and bye for now.